Hey guys, welcome to part two of taking the worries out of starting to plant a tank. Um, so I left off at some other things to do to get rid of algae, other than like a UV sterilizer and water changes and new algae. So the next thing would be Phosgard. That's another thing that I use, not in this tank. See, this is like my low maintenance tank. I've got really like just adequate lighting, like nothing out of the norm, just like a T5 and T8 combination. And then I got the Eco Complete in there, and I'm dosing some fertilizers and stuff like lightly for the most part, but I'm not running CO2. I'm not. This tank doesn't really. I just kind of leave it alone. So just recently added some cichlids to it. I know all of you out there are probably saying you're crazy, putting cichlids in a planted tank. Well, it's only been the first day, so, but I can imagine, they're going to start digging stuff up or whatever. But I'm not planning on keeping them in here. I'm going to be doing like a 55 or a 90 here pretty soon in the bedroom. So, girlfriend doesn't know about that yet, but she will soon. So, but yeah, I want to do a cichlid tank, you know what I mean? So, so that's why I got these guys, just to get them and start my collection. So they won't be in here too long. But anyway, Phosgard. Back to Phosgard. I use it in my tank out, my larger tank, my 180. And what it does is it takes out silicates and phosphates. You need some phosphate. Plants use some of it, but I'm using it more to get rid of silicates. I'm using well water here, and we're on like a sandy type. Like a sand pit type, like a mountain ledge type thing. So, I got silicates coming in. So, one way I was able to reduce that was just by running some Phosgard, which is completely harmless. I haven't done long periods of time with it in yet, but it's been in for a few weeks now, and I'm not seeing anything wrong. I've researched it. People say it does nothing but good things for clearing up your water, making your plants look better. The algae, are the biggest thing on the plants, on the glass. All those silicates are gonna be trapped in that media. And by the way, Phosgard, for anybody who doesn't know, it's just a media. Seachem makes it. You just throw it in your canister filter, or at best a canister filter, but at the least, float it in a bag, where the water's flowing. But depending on if you're running, and that brings me into my next topic, is filters. So you got to be thinking about filters. Um, you know, Whether you have a hang on the back or a canister, depending on what size your tank is, either or is fine. Canister filters are, you see them on smaller tanks. People adapt smaller ones, but you can get the real big ones for the larger tanks. This tank I run a hang on the back. But what I look for to hang in the back is something that has a little bit of room to put some sort of biomedia in it. Whether you just, think about putting it in like a little bag, like a media bag or something. Just tie it up and then drop it in there so it doesn't, obviously block where you're going to put in carbon if you're going to use carbon. So if you get a hang on the back, try to get something you can put some biomedia in, or something like that. Do you need it? Absolutely no. Does it help? I think so. So I've got an Aqueon hang on the back on this tank. I don't run carbon. I feel that it might take out things that are beneficial to the plants, so I don't run that in my other tank either. So I wouldn't use carbon just for those reasons. Can you use carbon? Absolutely. I don't really know what the effects are, but I have heard good and bad things about it. So mostly bad with a planted tank, because it's taking away things that are good, so like maybe using up some of your fertilizers, they may be, I don't know for sure, but I would have to think that it's absorbing some of that stuff that you're adding to your tank. So I use a couple of canister filters on my other tank. The reason I use two is so that I can clean one and the other one can be left alone for a week or two, and then I can just go to the next one, so that they have nice beneficial bacteria built up at all times. I'm not just cleaning my filter. And when I clean my filter, it's pretty minimal. I have some biosponges in there, And I've got my media bag that I'll just remove and check, and if it needs, if it's expelled, I'll put new stuff in. But for the most part, I just rinse the biosponges with cold water or lukewarm water. Try to match around the temperature of the tank. I just wring it out, get all that collects like all the dirt and stuff from dirty tanks. It'll just look like you're wringing out like muddy water, like puddle water. Um, and then once in a while I'll put a floss pad in there or something, but usually that just ends up clogging up so fast with the dirty tank that it just restricts the flow on your tank. So anyway, keeping it simple, guys, I just canister filter with either media if I'm using media at the time, or just a couple biosponges. And I do use bio media in there too. I have media trays, usually more than one, a couple trays spaced out between sponges. So both filters I have, my larger filter has 3 trays of biomedia. It has a total of 5, so there's a bunch of extra ones. So canister filters are great. Hang on the back filters are just fine, and that takes care of filtration for the most part. But other than that, guys, just a quick recap. Pick out your tank. All right, pick out your substrate. Plant heavy, especially if you're using dirt, and water changes. Okay. Keeping up on those once a week, doing like, especially the first initial water changes when you're doing dirt. Make sure you're doing the 7, 8 water changes right one after the other, and then that's like, after that, do them every day, because you don't have fish or plants, or even if you have plants, it's not going to hurt them as long as you're not putting ice cold water in there, or really hot water, or I don't know, chlorine. I wouldn't put it in there. I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm sure the answer is right on Google. But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. I would put some sort of a dechlorinator right in if I was adding chlorinated water. So just water changes, and then plant heavy, and watch the cycle, okay? And get your fish in there if you want to do fish right off. If not, that's fine. It'll balance your plants out pretty well. Just slowly add fish, and don't worry about the plant melt, guys. Okay, remember, and the tannins in the water will get better if you try some of those things that I recommended. I would use all of them. I use all of them in this tank, except for I don't use the Fosguard in this tank, because I really haven't had an algae problem yet. And I don't know if that's because I use Eco Complete or whatever, but alright, guys, so that's pretty much it. I'm sure I left some stuff out, but this is just like what I went through and what I had to keep revisiting and learning from, and doing the wrong thing and going back and forth with. These are the highlighted topics, the main things that, setting up the tank that I did. And it's not necessarily the right thing to do, and some may agree, some may disagree, but this is what I did, and this is what I would do if I was to do another tank. Here's just a quick little thing. If I was to do another large tank, huge tank, I would actually do it in Eco Complete, to be honest with you, because I haven't noticed any differences in the plants, really, for the most part. This tank's a lot clearer, and I was able to clear it up a lot quicker, and this is the Eco Complete, so I would use the Eco Complete if I were to do another big tank versus dirt. Dirt's just a mess, and you can get all sorts of problems down the road with just the, not all sorts of problems, sorry, I take that back. Just, if you go too thick on it, and any media is going to expel after a certain amount of time, so it's going to need to be replaced, but you get a pretty good while out of it. And root tabs can always be added when the soil's expelled. Same with rock. Yeah, root tabs are another good thing. And for those of you that don't know what they are, if you're going to just use gravel, root tabs will work just fine with ferts. So root tabs, they just push down into the soil. You put them, a few inches away from your roots. And there is a few plants you want to watch out with using them. I know that they can be sensitive to them, but there's not a whole lot. If you put it far enough away, you're pretty much good. So do a little close-up. I try to do that with every video at the end. So this is what I'm using in both of my tanks, guys. All right, I've got it broken up into daily doses down there with Sharpie marker. This isn't what's going to work for you guys. This is what works for me. But these are the 3 things that I'm using right now. So I use it in both tanks, and definitely great success with it. So, give you guys a look at these guys. Alright guys, thanks for watching part 2, and I hope this helps some people out there that are just starting out. Take it easy. Bye.